TNA Wrestling crosses the line again as we get ever closer to Sacrifice next Friday. Live and exclusive on the TNA Plus app. Get it downloaded, get subscribed, get the package, and you will not miss 1 second of the action. This week's TNA proved to be a very good subtitle on the way through. We got some new matches and a big addition to a match. Sacrifice, and let's get involved. First things first, bit of contract news. Hammerstone has seemingly confirmed he's out of TNA. He wrestled his last match this past February. We know he did also get injured, so we wish him well on the injury. If it is over between Hammerstone and TNA, it is a real shame. He is an extraordinarily talented wrestler, but we wish him well wherever he goes. And of course, if you'd like to see an interview that we conducted with Hammerstone last year, please do feel free to go down to the playlist and see that, and a lot of other TNA talents in there, including Brian Myers, Eddie Edwards, and the TNA X Division champion, Moose. There we go. Anyway, TNA Impact kicked off this week with a new acquisition that we knew about last week, Elijah, of course, the former Elias from the WWE, against Brian Myers, who was actually with Alicia Edwards. Obviously, the System and Elijah, both of these men will be in that 10-man tag next week at Sacrifice that has got a huge new stipulation, which we will get to. The finish of this particular match saw Elijah hit Brian Myers with the Highwayman's Farewell. Pretty much a tombstone power driver, if you know. Between us, of course. To score the victory. And it was a good showing for both of these men. More on that in a minute. Elijah is jumped at the end by Eddie Edwards and JDC. And that basically, well, they were attacking Elijah until the man that we all believe in, the TNA World Heavyweight Champion Joe Hendry, appeared with a guitar and chased the System off. But this was a fine opening match contest to start off the show. What I will say is Elijah just seems instantly comfortable in TNA. Sometimes sometimes it takes a while to settle in. You're not quite sure. You got to find your feet. He seems to be already there, which is a great thing for him and obviously for TNA going forward. He's going to be a strong acquisition, to be quite honest with you, for TNA Wrestling. And it's great that he's already eventually going in there with Brian Myers, though. Steady Eddie, a good hand, no pun intended, for a team in TNA. But the fact that there was no, he didn't seem to have missed a step. Great chemistry. Obviously, the System jumping in at the end as well. Joe Hendry even him up the odds. Great prologue to what we're going to get to later. So a solid start and a solid start for Elijah in TNA Wrestling. Hopefully, this is the start of things to come, so to speak. Later on tonight, or later on Impact Wrestling, should I say, the Rascals will team with Ace Austin against the Northern Armory, and Eric Young. And look, this was going to be a test, apparently, according to the Rascals and Ace Austin, to see if they can coexist. Because there was a lot of history between the Rascals and Bullet Club ABC. And Ace Austin does say that and said, look, he's done terrible things to them in the past, but he's never pretended to be their friend and stabbed them in the back, making that a little bit about Wes Lee, obviously, who did, in fact, do that to the Rascals. So, we'll find out if they get to next. And funnily enough, what comes next was, of course, First Class with their Penthouse. This is getting a lot of negative stuff on social media. A lot of people are not liking this. They're calling it terrible segments and whatnot. But look, I think that you've got to take it for what it's worth, right? And I think the whole intention of these segments isn't exactly to be great. If you look at what he's doing, he keeps teasing WWE stars coming on. Last week it was AJ Styles. This week they were teasing Kevin Owens. So if you kind of get what they're going for, I think eventually what's going to happen is we will see someone from the WWE come and cut off the Penthouse. That's my belief anyway. And I think the segments are actually intentionally bad because of the fact that there is nobody coming out. They're teasing someone that's it's not there, and it's clear that they're not there. But I'm sure that in the future at some point, maybe at a live Impact or a show, they'll do it and they will come out and it will be a big thing. But until then, guys, you're going to have to get used to it being a cheesy, corny segment, which you're probably not going to like, but you will like eventually when it happened, when the big thing happens, because it will happen. It's bound to happen at some point. Now, although they teased Kevin Owens and Kevin Owens did not appear, Steve Macklin did. And they exchanged some verbals, and it set up a match between Steve Macklin and AJ Francis a bit later on in the show. So we'll get to it. But if you didn't like the Penthouse and you didn't like it last week, just wait, because you will. Because it will happen. Someone will come out of the Penthouse, and it will be good. Mark my words, you TNA fans. So you can hate it as much as you want for now, anyway. Knockouts action again this week. Zaya Brookside, Savannah Evans. I have to say with this one, and I don't normally say this on any TNA match, I just felt there wasn't any chemistry between the two here, and it kind of was noticeable. Sometimes you can get away with it in wrestling. Look, and I'm by no means a wrestling specialist. I say this all the time. I know what I like and I know what I don't like. To me, this just seemed a little off. And it just didn't work between the two. Zaya Brookside, they're both really good individually, these two. Zaya's very, very good. She's constantly improving. Savannah Evans has got a great look, a hard-hitting nature. And it was the hard-hitting nature of Savannah Evans that picked up the pinfall with a big Northern Lariat. But it just felt like it was going through the motions a little bit. And for me, it just didn't quite work. That was my view. I don't know if anybody else agreed with it. And it's very rare that I say this on the program. But look, I know we get TNA talent coming on and whatnot. But you have to be you have to just say what you feel, and that is it. I just felt that this didn't work for me, unfortunately. And it's very, as I said, very rare that I say that on TNA, but it just didn't work. But look, there better things on the horizon for both of those ladies for sure. As I said before, Savannah Evans, great look, hard hitting. Zaya Brookside, fantastically. She's young, she's hungry, she's improving. So better matches were to come for both of these. That is a guarantee. But this one didn't quite work, although Savannah Evans, as mentioned, did indeed pick up the victory. We move on to some more action now, and this is Mike Santana. The man, if you were a footballer or a football team, he would be the in-form footballer, the football team the most in form. He is the one with the winning mentality at the moment. We know where he wants to get to, and we know he's willing to go through everybody to do so. Now, this week, he is taking on Jason Hotch of the Great Hands, I think now. They're kind of being taken under Ali's wing. We know that Santana and Ali are having a little bit of a to-do. Ali's not a big fan of Santana and vice versa. So I suppose this is the first point of Santana getting to Ali. Santana did win the match with the running powerbomb to pick up the victory. Hotch did try to attack Santana afterwards from behind, but he did get hit with the spin, the block. Now, after this, Mustafa Ali gets on the Tron and basically says that Santana is unhinged and that there's a reason that he's unhinged and that's his demons from the past are coming back to haunt him. and that he needs to be tested for drugs. More on that in a minute. But look, what I've kept mentioning is, and Santana, look, he is literally on the run of his life at the moment in TNA. I think if he keeps going, he has to be world champion this year. And I love Joe Hendry. I really do. But you've got to look at the way in which Santana is going, the role that he's on, the momentum that he's picking up, win after win after win. He is literally doing so much right now, and the matches are always good. He finds his way of making the best out of any situation that he's in currently. So for me right now, the one that's going to dethrone Joe Hendry as of we talking right now on the 7th of March is Mike Santana. But of course, he's going to have to take a drugs test. He's probably going to have to beat the other member of the Great Hand, and he will be facing Ali, I think, at Sacrifice next week. So lots to do for Santana, but boy, oh boy, is he on a run right now. Now, we said earlier on at the Penthouse segment, which a lot of people don't like, which I do like, and I said why I like, and you will get to like it, and that Steve Macklin and AJ Francis and Casey Navarro had a bit of a to-do in this. And it set up the match between Macklin and AJ Francis. Now, the end of this match saw distractions from not only Casey Navarro, but the Northern Armory, which allowed AJ Francis to hit the down payment and get the victory. It was a solid match. And this is the thing, when we say this about AJ Francis, how great that he actually is becoming. And people may not like, people may just not like the guy. What you can't deny is the improvement on what he's done. This match was solid from both competitors. Macklin is great. We know that he's great. AJ Francis, I think, is still proving people wrong. And I feel as if he still has to, because there's so much, not hate for him, but there's just so much displeasure for what him is. And people are still saying he's flop dollar and whatnot. He really isn't. He really has improved in that ring, and he will only get better. Once as he keeps doing what he's doing, because he's showing it. He is great and he will get better and better and better. The interesting theory with this is that Macklin can never seem to escape this storyline of Eric Young right now. And I wonder if two things, or maybe three, does he join the Northern Armory? Does he just beat them all? Or does he join them and destroy them from within? Interesting to see what happens between Macklin, Eric Young, and the Northern Armory. But a great win for First Class and AJ Francis. We'll see what happens next week as we head into Sacrifice live on the TNA Plus app. Now, Obafembi, NXT Heavyweight Champion, Moose, X Division Champion, face to face. Obafembi come out on his own. Moose comes out with the system and a few members of security. And look, there's always been talk of it happening. They brought it up, talk of it happening, these two in the ring, for one time. And Obafembi was like, I'm happy when you showed up on NXT to challenge him. But he did ask why now. And Moose was like, he's a prize fighter and he only fights for the biggest prize. He said he waited until he won that NXT championship because he wants it all. He wants that NXT championship. He wants the X Division championship. And Moose is obviously saying that he's been the face of the TNA for the last decade. And that is very hard to disagree with when you look at his accomplishments and what he's done. But Obafembi was like, well, if you're so confident, get rid of the system, get rid of security, and they can settle things tonight. But security then attacked Obafembi, but he takes them all out. He takes down everyone in the system, barring Moose, who hit him with the spear, and Moose stands tall with both championships. Is that a prologue to next week? To wait and see. Now, Fraxium were backstage, and, they're basically saying, look, if your Hardys ain't going to pass the torch, they're going to take it. which is interesting. They are very confident what they're doing. The Hardy Boys, Fraxium, this week on NXT. Oh, bang goes the microphone, chaps. Sorry if you heard that. This coming Tuesday on NXT, the Hardys do indeed take on Fraxium for the gold, for the Hardys gold, I believe. This coming Tuesday should be a great, great match. Hardys are loved everywhere they go. The rock star entrance, the rock star grade for the Hardys. They're really, really great. And next week it should be an absolute barn burner against Fraxium. I'm so looking forward to that tag match for the championships. Just hurry up and come down already. Really is. But speaking of tag action, we move to six-man tag action. The Rascals and Ace Austin and the Northern Armory. Now, Wes Lee gets involved in this. And Eric Young ended up hitting Trey Miguel with the power driver to score the pinfall victory. I did love this match. It was a fun six-man tag. You know what you're going to get with the Rascals and Ace Austin. It's that quick pace. You know, Eric Young, the wily veteran's going to be doing little bits to every time they get the momentum. He's going to chop it down. And you know, with the Northern Armory, again, very good up-and-coming tag team. Chemistry on point, match on point, moves on point. But because of the result of this match, I honestly believe that the Rascals and Ace Austin will get the victory when they go against Wes Lee and co. Tyson and Tariq, I think they're called, at Sacrifice. We'll see next week on the TNA Plus app. Going to keep getting that plug in, guys. Get that TNA Plus app. Now, we heard about the drugs test. Mustafa Ali was saying that Santana needs to take the drugs test. Santana will run into Santino Marella. He did give him the drugs bottle to piss in. He was like, "What?" And he was like, "It's come from above." So they're kind of believing in what Ali was saying. Over in the corner, there's a little bit where Ali's assistant has bought coffee and the coffee's not good enough. So he gets sent away. And funnily enough, Santana notices this and takes the coffee and takes a piss in Ali's coffee, as well as he does his urine sample. Crazy, but funny segment for that. I don't. Just the thought of it makes me cringe. But well done, Santana. Well done, Santana. Definitely well done on that. Touche, as they say. Right. Knockouts champion Masha Slamovich was next, talking about her match with Cora Jade. Now, one thing that we do need to say about this is Cora Jade seemingly picked up an injury against Jordan Grace this past week on NXT. It may have been a head injury or some sort of concussion of some stage. Now, if that is the case, that does throw into jeopardy her match at Sacrifice with Masha Slamovich. We will obviously get an update on that when we can. Hopefully, when we on air next Friday ahead of Sacrifice, we'll have an update for you, and hopefully Cora Jade is okay. But Masha Slamovich was saying that Cora Jade isn't walking out of their match at Sacrifice. Funnily enough, that brings out Cora Jade, but and as Cora Jade was saying that she's going to expose all of Slamovich's weaknesses, Tessa Blanchard comes out. Now, she's got one eye on this match for various reasons, predominantly the reason of that she wants the Knockouts Championship as well. And they were both double teaming her. Here we go. Until Li Ying Lee comes out, evens up the odds. And I believe that is a tag match that's been set for next week. Now, obviously, we know that TNA is taped, so Cora Jade does compete in that tag match, but we need to find out the results from this coming Tuesday, last coming Tuesday, sorry, about the drug test. Now, right. So we said about him pissing in the coffee. So Tasha Steelz goes to tell Ali that Santana has passed his drug test in what has to be the quickest drug test results I've ever seen in my entire life, to be quite honest with you. But there we go. And Ali drinks the coffee and he has to throw up. It's a great segment. A great segment. And yeah. But it's time for the Impact main event. The Hardys against the Colognes. Non-title match. The system come out at the end of the finish to attack the Hardys, get the DQ, which we were kind of expecting, to be quite honest with you. The Cologne's new to TNA. Looks like they've signed fully, which is great. Great tag team. Great addition to the tag team division over there in TNA. Good match as well until the system come out and spoiled it. But with that, out comes Joe Hendry, out comes Elijah, and out comes Leon Slater. All hell is breaking loose in that Impact zone. But Santino Marella, the DOA of TNA, has now said, well, there's your 5-on-5, guys, at Sacrifice. But we're putting it inside a steel cage. Your main event at Sacrifice, 10-man tag, steel cage match. Take my Monet, guys. Incredible, incredible, incredible. That's going to be brilliant this time next week on the TNA Plus app, Sacrifice. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be mad. It's going to be great. Make sure you tune in to Sacrifice this week. We will be reviewing it next week, next Sunday, I believe, if I'm right, or next Saturday. We'll be reviewing it next Saturday because it's on next Friday on the TNA Plus app, like you didn't already know, because I've mentioned it about 75 times during this episode as well. Next week is the go home episode. We may get that in time for Sacrifice. We may not. Just a pre-warning. I will try because I want to give you my Sacrifice predictions as well. If I don't, I will definitely be back this time or next Saturday for the Sacrifice review show. TNA will no doubt knock it out of the park, and we will look forward to that. We look forward to everything else that's got coming up this week on the channel. Keep it locked. HTT Buckle on YouTube, HTT Buckled on X, Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast on all other social media outlets. And until next time, everybody, buckle down, stay safe, and goodbye.